One thing I'm starting to notice more clearly is that leadership pressure itself isn't what exhausts us. Pressure's part of the deal. Decisions, responsibility, people, stakes, that's not new. What seems to wear us down is something more subtle. Leadership pressure is inevitable. What exhausts us is the mental replay that keeps running after the moment has passed. The meeting ends, the conversation is over, the decision has been made. But internally, it's still going. We replay what was said, what we shouldn't have said, what might happen next, and what we'll need to fix tomorrow. And often the workday's over, but the mind is still going. Once I started noticing that, I saw how often this doesn't stay contained to work. Physically, the day is over. I'm home. The laptop is closed. But internally, the conversation keeps running. The body is in one place, and the mind is somewhere else, replaying, planning, bracing. It's subtle, not dramatic stress, just a quiet narrowing. Listening gets thinner, patience shortens, presence fragments, not because anything is wrong, but because something unfinished is still looping. This is where that question from last week starts to matter. What's here now when there's no problem to solve? Because in these moments, there usually isn't a problem that needs attention right now. There's just momentum. And I'm starting to see that when the mind doesn't have something to work on, it keeps working anyway. Pressure isn't the problem. Rumination is. What I'm learning is that the goal isn't to stop this from happening. That's not realistic, and it's not necessary. The shift seems to come from recognizing what's happening and knowing there's somewhere else to return to. When I notice I'm caught in a loop, that doesn't mean I've failed. It just means something inside me is still trying to help. It's anticipating, protecting, preparing. And when I don't argue with that, when I don't try to shut it down or fix it, the loop often loosens on its own. Not all at once, and not permanently, but faster than it used to. That's what feels new. Pressure doesn't disappear, but recovery happens sooner. The body settles, attention widens, and there's a sense of arriving right where I am. This is where that earlier question comes back. What's here when there's no problem to solve? Because even after a hard day, even after a charged conversation, there are moments when nothing is actually required. And when that's noticed, something steadier becomes available again. I'm starting to see that the ability to return, may be one of the most practical leadership skills that there is. Not because it makes you passive, but because it changes where your responses come from. Now, this is still something I'm learning and paying attention to, but it's already changing how I end my days and how much of my work I carry with me into the rest of my life. Next time, I want to explore this idea of returning more directly, why it matters, and how knowing where to return changes the way we respond when things get activated again.